Abandoned railroad stations where phantom trains linger, deserted insane asylums holding the tortured spirits of former patients, and famous historic houses whose halls are roamed by the ghosts of former US presidents await on this list of some of the most haunted places in New York. Are you ready to get rolling? Hey guys, and thanks for joining me on this journey through some of the most haunted places in the Empire State, or New York. Recognized for its massive parks, larger-than-life skyline, famous art institutions, unparalleled food scene, Times Square, and so much more, New York also totes a surprising number of chilling ghost stories and tales of otherworldly encounters. Let's dive right in. Our first haunt lands us just off of Oyster Bay at the ever-famous Sagamore Hill. Sagamore Hill, located in Cove Neck, New York, is a site of significant historical importance, famously known as the home of Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. Built between 1884 and 1885, Sagamore Hill served as Roosevelt's primary residence and the summer White House during his presidency from 1901 to 1909, and the estate, encompassing 83 acres of rolling fields, woodlands, and salt marshes, offers a window into the life and times of one of America's most dynamic leaders. Theodore Roosevelt, a man of diverse interests and boundless energy, chose the location for Sagamore Hill for its natural beauty and proximity to Oyster Bay. The Queen Anne-style house reflects his personality, filled with mementos from his travels, hunting trophies, books, and artwork. The home includes 23 rooms, with notable spaces such as the North Room, which showcases Roosevelt's extensive collection of artifacts and memorabilia, and the library, where he penned many of his speeches and books. During his presidency, Sagamore Hill became a hub of political activity. Roosevelt would host numerous dignitaries, politicians, and friends conducting official business in the serene environment of his estate, and it was actually there that he negotiated the end to the Russo-Japanese War, earning him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1906. Notably, this estate remained Roosevelt's sanctuary until his passing in 1919. Sagamore Hill, now managed by the National Park Service, is preserved as a National Historic Site. It attracts visitors from around the world who come to learn about Roosevelt's life, his contributions to conservation, and his enduring legacy in American history. The house and grounds are meticulously maintained, offering guided tours that provide insights into the personal and professional life of Theodore. Beyond its historical significance, however, Sagamore Hill is also rumored to be quite haunted. The tales of ghostly encounters add a further layer of mystery to this storied estate, and both visitors and staff members have reported various unexplained phenomena over the years, contributing to the belief that the spirit of old Teddy himself and other former residents may still linger. One of the most frequently recounted experiences involves the apparition of Theodore Roosevelt himself, and several visitors have claimed to see a figure resembling the former POTUS in period clothing, often described as a tall, robust man with distinctive spectacles. These sightings typically occur in the North Room or the library, areas where Roosevelt spent much of his time in life, and some believe that this strong presence and deep connection to Sagamore Hill have left an undeniable mark, causing his spirit to remain within his beloved home. In addition to Roosevelt's ghost, there have been reports of other spectral activities as well, with some visitors having heard disembodied voices, footsteps, and even the sound of furniture moving around on its own. Incidentally, these commotions are often attributed to the lively gatherings and discussions that once filled the house during Roosevelt's time there. Another intriguing tale involves the ghost of Edith Roosevelt, Theo's wife. Visitors to the house have occasionally reported seeing a woman in Victorian attire believed to be Edith, moving gracefully through the halls or gazing out of various windows, and her presence is often associated with a sense of calm and warmth, reflecting her role as the matriarch of the family. The very grounds of Sagamore Hill also have their own share of ghost stories, and some have felt sudden cold spots or an eerie sense of being watched while walking through the estate's trails and gardens, experiences that are often attributed to the spirits of long-gone staff or family members who remain attached to the land they once tended and loved, or even to the spirits of Native Americans that settled there long before colonization. Sagamore Hill, with its combination of historical richness and ghostly lore, continues to captivate those who visit. It offers a unique glimpse into the life of one of America's most influential presidents, while also inviting curiosity about the supernatural. And whether drawn in by its historical significance or the allure of its haunted reputation, Sagamore Hill remains a fascinating and evocative landmark on Long Island's Gold Coast. Now, on to number 2, which takes us to the western end of the state to the Buffalo Central Terminal. The Buffalo Central Terminal, an iconic Art Deco train station located in Buffalo, New York, stands as a monument to a bygone era of American rail travel. Opened in 1929, this grand structure once served as a bustling hub for passengers and freight, symbolizing the city's status as a major transportation center. But despite its grandeur and initial success, the terminal's fortunes declined in the mid-20th century, leading to its eventual abandonment and a legacy as one of Buffalo's most haunted locations. Designed by the architectural firm Fellheimer and Wagner, Buffalo Central Terminal was an impressive feat of engineering and design. The main concourse, with its towering 58-foot ceilings, intricate tile work, and expansive windows, epitomized the elegance and optimism of the era, and at its peak, the terminal accommodated over 200 trains and 10,000 passengers daily, serving as a vital link in the New York Central Railroad network. However, the rise in automobile travel and the decline in railroads in the post-World War II period led to a significant decrease in passenger traffic, and by the 1950s and 60s, the terminal's bustling activity had dwindled, and the building would fall into disrepair. In 1979, the last passenger train departed from Buffalo Central Terminal, marking an end to its operational life. And since then, the building has stood largely vacant, a haunting reminder of its former glory. Despite its abandoned state, Buffalo Central Terminal has garnered a reputation as a hotspot for paranormal activity, attracting ghost hunters and enthusiasts from around the world. And the building's eerie atmosphere, with its decaying interiors and echoing halls, provides a perfect backdrop for tales of hauntings and unexplained phenomena. One of the most frequently reported ghostly encounters involves the apparition of a man believed to be a former railroad worker. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike have described seeing this spectral figure dressed in early 20th century work clothes, often spotted near the concourse or in the maintenance areas, and this ghost is said to continue his duties seemingly unaware of the passage of time. Another well-known legend is that of a lady in white, a ghostly figure who's been seen wandering the terminal's corridors and waiting areas. Described as a woman in a flowing white dress, she is often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sadness or longing, and some speculate that she may have been a passenger awaiting for a loved one who never arrived, forever trapping her in a state of despair and waiting. The terminal's ticket booth area is another focal point for supernatural happenings, and many visitors near have reported hearing the sounds of disembodied voices and the clattering of phantom footsteps, as if the spirits of the long-departed passengers are still moving through the space. Incidentally, some have even heard the distant echoes of a train whistle, despite no trains having passed through for decades now. In addition to these ghostly figures, there are numerous accounts of unexplained phenomena throughout the terminal. Cold spots, sudden gusts of wind, and the sensation of being watched are common experiences reported by those who explore the building. And personal electronics often malfunction or drain unexpectedly, a hallmark of paranormal activity according to many investigators. The Buffalo Central Terminal Restoration Corporation, formed in the 1990s, has been working to preserve and restore this historic landmark. While significant progress has been made, the building's haunting allure remains intact, drawing both history buffs and those intrigued by the supernatural. And events such as ghost tours and paranormal investigations are regularly held, allowing for visitors to experience the terminal's eerie charm firsthand. Buffalo Central Terminal, with its rich history and spectral legends, continues to be a fascinating and enigmatic presence in Buffalo. And whether one is drawn in by its architectural beauty, historical significance, or the spine-chilling ghost stories that surround it, the terminal stands as a poignant reminder of the past and a beacon for the curious and the brave. And on to number 3, which has us traveling a short skip north of New York City to the infamous Letchworth Village. Letchworth Village, located in Rockland County, New York, is a place where history and hauntings intertwine to create an eerie atmosphere. Opened in 1911 as a residential institution for the mentally and physically disabled, Letchworth was initially envisioned as a progressive facility aimed at providing humane care and education. Named after William Pryor Letchworth, a noted humanitarian and philanthropist, the village-like complex spread over 2,362 acres and included over 130 buildings, ranging from dormitories to hospitals, schools, and workshops. The early years of Letchworth Village were marked by idealism and hope, with an emphasis on fresh air, open space, and a nurturing environment. However, as the decades passed, the institution became notorious for its overcrowded conditions, inadequate funding, and reports of neglect and abuse. By the mid-20th century, Letchworth Village had become a place of suffering for many of its residents. Investigations and exposés through the 1970s, including a damning report by ABC News correspondent Geraldo Rivera, revealed the extent of mistreatment and squalid conditions, and these revelations ultimately led to a public outcry and contributed to a nationwide deinstitutionalization movement, with the village eventually closing its doors in 1996 and leaving behind a legacy both of humanitarian aspirations and human rights failures. Today, the abandoned and overgrown buildings of Letchworth Village stand in stark contrast to its serene surroundings, creating a hauntingly beautiful but eerie landscape. And its decaying structures, overtaken by nature, have become a magnet for urban explorers, history enthusiasts, and ghost hunters, with numerous reports of paranormal activity emerging over the years, adding to the site's haunted reputation. One of the most frequently reported phenomena is the appearance of ghostly figures, particularly of children. Incidentally, visitors have claimed to see apparitions of young residents wandering the grounds, playing in now empty fields, or peering out from behind broken windows. These spectral children are often described as wearing old-fashioned clothing and seem to vanish into thin air when approached, and some believe them the spirits of the many children who lived and died at Letchworth Village, unable to find peace due to the suffering they endured in life. Another common report involves unexplained sounds echoing through the dilapidated buildings. Disembodied voices, whispers, and cries have been heard, often in the dead of night, and some have described hearing the faint sounds of children laughing or crying, the shuffle of footsteps in empty hallways, and the eerie creaking of doors or furniture. Notably, these auditory experiences are often accompanied by feelings of unease and sudden drops in temperature, further suggesting the presence of restless spirits. The hospital buildings and morgue are particularly notorious for their paranormal activity. Investigators and visitors here have reported encountering shadowy figures moving through the halls, sudden cold spots, and the ever-present sensation of being watched, and some have felt an inexplicable sense of dread and sorrow when entering these areas, as if the very walls are imbued with the lingering anguish of former patients. Adding to the spine-tingling ambiance, several ghost hunters have captured compelling evidence during investigations, including EVPs, mysterious orbs in photography, and unexplained figures in video. Findings that have only further fueled fascination with Letchworth Village as a hotspot for supernatural activity. Letchworth, with its blend of tragic history and ghostly tales, continues to capture the imagination of those who visit. Its story is a sobering reminder of past struggles faced by the mentally and physically disabled, and the importance of humane treatment and care. Whether drawn in by its historical significance or the allure of the supernatural, those who explore the grounds of the village are often left with a profound sense of the lives that once inhabited this now silent place. Number 4 has us exploring one of the most famous government buildings around, being the New York State Capitol. The New York State Capitol, located in Albany, New York, is an architectural masterpiece and a symbol of the state's rich political history. Constructed over a period of 32 years from 1867 to 1899, this Capitol building is renowned for its intricate design blending Romanesque Revival, Neo-Renaissance, and Victorian Gothic architectural styles. And standing majestically at the head of State Street, the Capitol is not only a seat of New York State Legislature, but also a site with a reputation for being one of the most haunted buildings in the state. The Capitol's construction was a monumental undertaking involving several architects, including Thomas Fuller, Leopold Eidlitz, and Henry Hobson Richardson, each who contributed to its unique design. The building's grand staircase, known as the $1 Million Staircase, is one of its most remarkable features, adorned with carved faces and figures, and the interior is equally impressive, with opulent chambers, intricate stonework, and stained glass windows reflecting the grandeur and ambition of its creators. Throughout history, the New York State Capitol has been a center of numerous significant political events and decisions. However, it also totes a darker side, marked by tales of tragic accidents, mysterious deaths, and paranormal activity. And these stories only further contribute to its eerie reputation and attract both history enthusiasts and ghost hunters. One of the most enduring legends associated with the Capitol is the haunting of Samuel Abbott. Abbott was a night watchman who tragically perished in a fire that broke out in the Capitol on March 29th of 1911. Incidentally, this blaze destroyed much of the western wing of the building, including the State Library, and despite extensive investigations, the cause for this fire was never determined, and Abbott's death remains a poignant chapter in the Capitol's history. Subsequently, visitors and employees have reported encountering Abbott's ghost, often described as a shadowy figure or a cold presence, particularly near areas where the fire occurred, and some have heard footsteps and doors opening and closing on their own that are believed to be the restless spirit of Abbott continuing his patrol. Another ghostly tale involves the Lost Mason. During the construction of the Capitol, a stonemason reportedly fell to his death while working on the building's intricate stonework. His body was never recovered, and it's said that his spirit haunts the corridors and staircases of the Capitol, forever searching for a way out. Sightings of a ghostly figure in old-fashioned work clothes have been reported, along with unexplained noises such as hammering and chiseling echoing through empty halls. Even the legislative chambers themselves are not exempt from paranormal activity, and both lawmakers and staff members here have experienced sudden drops in temperature, flickering lights, and the sensation of being watched, with some reporting hearing faint voices and rustling of papers even when the rooms are empty. Notably, these occurrences have led many to believe that the spirits of past legislators still linger, perhaps continuing their work or debates from the other side. The Capitol's staircases, especially the $1 million staircase, are also hotspots for ghostly encounters. The latter prominent staircase features hundreds of carved faces, some of which that are said to have been molded after real people involved in the building's construction, and visitors traversing it have reported seeing these faces move or change expressions, with some claiming to have seen apparitions near the staircase, including the ghost of a young boy who allegedly fell to his death during the building's construction. Adding to the haunted lore, the Hall of Governors, which houses portraits of New York's governors, has its own share of eerie stories. Some of the portraits themselves are believed to be haunted, with visitors and staff members reporting the eyes in the paintings seeming to follow them as they move, and there are even accounts of the portraits shifting position on the walls, further enhancing the Capitol's reputation as a haunted site. The New York State Capitol, with its stunning architecture and storied past, is a place where history and the supernatural intersect. Its tales of hauntings and unexplained phenomena add an intriguing dimension to this historic building, and whether visiting for its political significance, architectural beauty, or the allure of its ghostly legends, the site remains a fascinating and enigmatic landmark in New York. Saving the best for last, get ready to explore one of New York City's most beautifully haunting graveyards, being the Trinity Church Cemetery. Trinity Church Cemetery, nestled in the bustling heart of Manhattan, New York, is a tranquil and historic sanctuary amidst the city's constant motion. Established in 1697, it's one of the oldest burial grounds in the city and is associated with the Trinity Church, an Episcopal parish located at the intersection of Broadway and Wall Street. Notably, this cemetery encompasses 3 separate burial sites: the original Trinity Churchyard in Lower Manhattan, the Churchyard of St. Paul's Chapel, and the Trinity Church Cemetery and Mausoleum at Hamilton Heights. The original Trinity Churchyard, located at 74 Trinity Place, serves as a final resting place for many prominent figures of American history. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of Treasury and one of the founding fathers of the U.S., is buried there, and his tomb, marked by a large white marble monument, draws numerous visitors and history enthusiasts alike. Nearby rests Elizabeth Schuyler Hamilton, his wife, along with other notable individuals such as Robert Fulton, the inventor of the steamboat, and Albert Gallatin, a distinguished politician and diplomat. St. Paul's Chapel, situated a few blocks north of Trinity Church, has its own historic churchyard. This chapel, completed in 1766, is Manhattan's oldest surviving church building, and during the American Revolution, it served as a place of worship for George Washington himself. Miraculously, the chapel and churchyard survived the Great Fire of 1776, which destroyed much of the surrounding area, and today it remains a serene spot, offering a glimpse into the city's colonial past. The Trinity Church Cemetery and Mausoleum, located in the Washington Heights neighborhood, is the third component of this historic burial ground. Opened in 1842, it was one of the first cemeteries in New York City to be designed as a rural cemetery that was inspired by picturesque cemeteries of Europe, and the expansive grounds provide a peaceful retreat from the urban environment with rolling hills, towering trees, and elegant monuments. Trinity Church Cemetery is not just a place of historical significance, however, as it's also reputed to be one of New York City's most haunted locations. The cemetery's long history and the many notable figures interred there have given rise to numerous ghost stories and reports of supernatural happenings. One of the most famous ghostly tales associated with Trinity Church Cemetery involves the spirit of Alexander Hamilton himself. Incidentally, visitors have reported seeing a spectral figure resembling Hamilton right near his grave, dressed in period attire, and some claim to have felt a sudden chill or an inexplicable presence while paying their respects at his tomb. Notably, his apparition is believed to still be keeping watch over the city that he loved and helped to shape. Another prominent ghostly resident is that of Robert Fulton. Witnesses have recounted sightings of a man in 19th century clothing near Fulton's grave, often described as appearing deep in thought or contemplation, and these sightings typically occur at dusk or after dark, adding an eerie atmosphere to the cemetery. But these burial grounds also play home to numerous less famous spirits, and both visitors and paranormal enthusiasts have reported hearing disembodied voices, whispers, and even the sounds of footsteps on the gravel path when no one else is around, and some have even experienced sudden drops in temperature or felt an inexplicable sense of unease, as if they're being followed by a presence unseen. A particularly chilling story involves the grave of one Charlotte Temple, a fictional character from the popular 18th century novel Charlotte Temple by Susanna Rosen. Despite being a character of fallacy, a tombstone for Charlotte Temple exists in the cemetery, placed there as a tribute by an anonymous admirer, and legend has it that the ghost of Charlotte Temple roams the cemetery, searching for her lost love and lamenting her tragic fate. Visitors have reported hearing her soft crying and seeing a shadowy female figure near the tombstone, especially on foggy evenings. Trinity Church Cemetery, with its rich history and ghostly legends, offers a unique blend of historical reverence and supernatural intrigue, and whether one visits to pay homage to the great figures of America's past or to explore its haunted lore, the site remains a captivating and mysterious landmark in the heart of New York City. Thanks for joining me in exploring some of the most haunted places in New York. If you enjoyed hearing my histories and ghost stories, subscribe to my channel, throw this upload a like, and share me with anyone you feel could use a good scare. I'll see you all next time.